Julie Laguna down this left-hand side. Waits for options. Is he going to cross it? Oh, my God. Oh, no. Oh, one goal season wonder. Oh, 45. He doesn't wear that for no reason.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on. Times 3 intro spin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. Comment any thoughts you have. Big up the Twitch gang. Let's talk it for now.
You always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like. You always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like. You always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on. And with an introduction like that, with a fan base, a supporters group across Twitch and YouTube like yourselves, what else can I say apart from display the fact that my mother and father raised me with manners? People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, especially to those of you like myself in the United Kingdom. Good evening, and in some cases, good night. Better yet, it probably is evening time. As usual, appreciative of you lot tuned in. Live stream business. Again, you are live. I know I premiere a lot of videos and I do see the comments. People are like, is this live? We really are live. Look, we're here. Again, if you're on YouTube, smash the like button, comment your thoughts. Obviously, you see in the title, apparently Arsenal are serious about signing Kai Havertz, and he's a player that, let alone with Chelsea, polarizes opinion. Let me know your thoughts before I spread mine. I've seen a couple of the comments. I know, again, it's already a mixed bag, people. Again, the beautiful thing about going live is that I get to share the comments with you lot. Of course, clearly I've got probably bordering on 9,000 videos now, definitely 8,000. Clearly, I like talking football, but I don't like to hear my voice all the time. So I'd love to know you lot's thoughts and things and stuff, man. Football is a universal game, really. That'd be the best way to put it. Romano new post. Is that within literally since I've gone live? Appreciate you for updating me on that. I do have a Romano tweet up here. Let's make another tab of that. Tab police. In fact, tab police, you'll be all right now. One love for that as well, my guy. I appreciate that one. I appreciate that. Let me know your thoughts. Big up myself for commenting as well. Daniel, I've actually met you in person and you're always here. Your support is appreciated. Hope everyone's doing well and safe. Hope everyone's having a great week. Hope everyone and their loved ones are in good health. Appreciate the Twitch ones. I really hope this is a poor joke. Why would we need him for? He's not a 9, had a poor season, and we have other needs like centre-back, left-back, winger, and striker. Charles, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Havertz would not work at Arsenal. You reckon? You know what? I disagree. I disagree with that. You know, it's a mixed one. I don't know. I sit on the fence a lot, but I don't know if I'm for it or against it. I think the very reasons I'll be for Havertz would be why I'd be against it. Like, you know me, I'll come up after Arsene Wenger. I'll always do the Disneyland stuff, especially when there's a player that I believe has ability, has potential, and he's not really realised that. The one thing I like about Havertz, while obviously Arteta and Arsenal, and to be honest, the game of football, you need to be able to play multiple positions. You know, it's very different when we had Cedric playing left and right back, obviously William playing false 9. If you can't do it, it doesn't make sense. But where you look at Benjamin White, Zinchenko, you could force it and say Smith Rowe, Trossard, Martinelli. There's probably a couple of other names. You need players that are good in one role but can play in others. Havertz can do that. You know, he can play up front, players at 10, players at 8, probably more comfortable in midfield, in my opinion. But I think that same thing is why I wouldn't necessarily be against it. Why I'd be against it, because for the money he's going to be on, you know, German international, Champions League winner, all of these sort of things. He's going to be on big money, you know. And what are you? You know, are you a striker? Are you a winger? Are you a 10? Are you at 8? And if we don't know, with us being in the Champions League, what does that mean? really and truly. You know, again, if you play as a number 9, obviously he's over 6 foot and stuff, but hold up play isn't really his. I would personally, if we're going to bring in someone that can play up front, I want more of a traditional striker or a man that's out and out sort of a striker, really. I don't really want more mix up players, if that makes sense, really. But you know, Mikel Arteta must have a plan. He must have a plan. And I don't think Havertz is a bad player. I think at Arsenal, obviously, at this moment in time, whatever Pochettino does, we play better football than Chelsea. We're a very technical base side. I personally think Kai Havertz would cook in that. He does have ability. He does have potential. You know, obviously, in front of goal, he needs to improve. And hopefully, Arteta can get that out of him. You know, for me, I'm trying to see him play as a 10 or an 8 in Arsenal's team. I'm not really with this false 9 stuff. By all means, if he signs for Arsenal, you got the luxury of him, Martinelli, Trossard. But I think, like we saw against Liverpool, Anfield away, we need a man that can play in that position. Big up DG. I can't lie. I think Havertz is trash at Chelsea. Then again, who isn't? I think in the right system, he can shine. I trust Arteta and Co about this. You know, Arteta is going to get signings wrong time and time again, just like every manager. But I don't think it's that deep, really. Obviously, I more want a proper number 8, a proper number 6, a proper proper striker, you know, a winger and things like that. And somebody alluded to it already. You know, we could do with a right back, we could do with a left back if Tierney leaves. Obviously, we need a centre back as well. I wouldn't be against it, but at this moment in time, I can't answer. Obviously, it's for Arteta, and I'd be loved to be proven wrong. I can't see whose place he fills in. Now, obviously, we haven't got Declan Rice over the line, but assuming you've got Declan Rice, Partey, and Odegaard, yes, there's a lot of games. If we're naming the strongest 11, where does Havertz line up? Because it's not through the middle, it's not on the left or the right, it's not in the 10 because you got Mr. Martin there. It's not as a 10, it's not as an 8, but you need a good crop of squads. And to be honest, we've shown that. We've got better relations with Chelsea. In fact, Premier League clubs full stop since Arteta and Edu has come in. We've bought a lot of players from the Premier League or players that have had Premier League experience. So it all depends on the wages, the fee, and obviously how he ties in. I don't see at this moment in time how Havertz immediately improves our team. Like if you signed a Caicedo, like if you signed a Caicedo, like if you signed the Declan Rice. I can't see it, but it's not for me to see in it. I'm just a fan. Mikel Arteta gets paid the bucks. So I'm willing to trust him in it, really and truly. I just don't think Havertz is a bad player. I don't, you know, the signings like this, like you lot know, this is going to send the Arsenal fan base into a frenzy. But for me, it's all about the right deal. And again, I'm not a financial accountant, but the right wages, the right transfer fee, and ultimately delivering. We should not be taking any Chelsea players on principle. I hear that, but yeah, man. Big up DG, Chelsea fan here. Think Havertz is a quality player. Just think he needs the right environment and manager to help him explode. Why for that? But yeah, I hear that. I'm not feeling this one. Max 40 million. That's my input. I mean, a player like Mason Mount, quality player, but contract is running down. They're saying 70, 80 million. I don't think Kai Havertz, who I don't think his contract is running down. They're going to ask for a lot more. And this is someone that's been linked with Real Madrid. Being linked to a club and actually signing is different things. But if we just remove our personal opinion, if Real Madrid want to sign you, you know, and things, and Arteta wants you, and I'm sure a bunch of other clubs, there must be something about him. What I would say, he seems like a fair weather player. Sometimes in a Chelsea shirt, as an ignorant non-Chelsea fan, he looks really good and then he doesn't. But like somebody said, who is really thriving at Chelsea at this moment in time? Really? So I'm not sure, man. Why is Arsenal pushing Havertz before sealing Declan Rice? Makes no sense to me. Rice is the priority if he is the one Arsenal want. Kevin, I hear you, but we need to remember, while Edu and Cole, they're only human and they can only do one thing at once, who is saying that they were not trying to deal with multiple levels of deals for any player, whether that's Fresnadar, Declan Rice, Caicedo, you know, I don't know really and truly, but you'd imagine there's several moving parts, people. Even David Ornstein has confirmed. You know, it went from kind of tentative rumors, and it seems like in the last week, definitely in the last hour, that it's getting a lot more aggressive, these links. So we're going to look at all of that in a sec, man. Big up Marcel. I was watching the terrace the other day, and guess who I see in the cut? Mr. Deluded himself. Big up my guy. You made it. Just don't forget us when you go Hollywood, fam. Do you see Hollywood money? Do you see? I would never forget it because you lot made me, but I don't see a Rolly. I don't see an Aqua. Man said Aqua. Showing my 28 years of age. That's all I wanted. I see the AP. Let's say that. Like, man. Whoever rates Havertz doesn't know football. To be fair with you, that's quite, you know, against S, I hear that, but that's quite idiotic. You know, just for having a different opinion doesn't mean, you know, you do or don't know football. Respectfully to you, you know, we're football fans. Whatever you say about Havertz, someone bought him for Chelsea. He's won Champions League. He plays for his country. He's been linked / Real Madrid tried to sign him before it became evidently clear that what Chelsea and Real Madrid value him are two different things. So respectfully, you know, I'd imagine these people know a lot more about football than us. It doesn't mean they're always right. Do you get it? So we'll have to see. Sorry, people. I'm trying to make a timestamp there. But it is what it is. Not the Ornstein bomb I wanted to hear. I'm not going to lie, bro. I don't think Havertz is a bad player. Now, if Arteta wants it, there's definitely been players I've been more up in a fuss with it. I'm having Havertz. The problem is I just don't want Havertz in isolation because he's another player that in the modern day can do everything. But what are you? Are you a number 9 able to play in other roles? Are you a 10 able to play in other roles? Are you a striker able to play in other roles? And it's one of them where, again, I say Liverpool away because for obvious reasons we dropped points in that game. But if you remember when Jesus came off, Trossard went up front. And I think when you do this false 9 thing, especially if you're not the physical profile, which Havertz is 6 foot plus, there's only certain games you can run that. And I think we're really missing a trick at times where teams are being rigid and solid defensively where we could, I'm not saying I want us to be a direct team. I like the fact that we're playing this Arteta ball, zip, neat 1-2s, but sometimes you have to be a bit more direct. And I think we're missing a trick, not having a number 9 that's able to do that really. And sometimes that helps us defensively. The second half when Jesus came off against Liverpool, obviously Trossard isn't going to win it in the air against Van Dijk. If you've got someone that can give Van Dijk problems, Van Dijk will win a couple of headers, he'll win a couple of headers, or Van Dijk and Cole might foul him, we get further up the pitch. We actually saw this against Everton at home. I know nobody cares for that game because Saka and Martinelli scored towards the end of the first half. We won. Bob's your uncle. We got 3 points. I'm not really against Havertz, man. You did your thing on the show. I enjoyed it. I appreciate that. Havertz is not it, DG, especially for 75 million. Again, I don't know anything, but I don't think we're going for that really. So we're moving Fabio on. I don't know, but what I would say with Fabio Vieira, boy, if you don't get with it next season, it could get peak, really. Get Havertz as he's better than Eddie Nketiah. I hear that, but is he a better striker than Eddie Nketiah? I believe yes, but also believe no, because Eddie's more of an out-and-out forward. I don't think Eddie's anything to write home about, but he is developing a lot. And to be fair to Eddie Nketiah, last season, in his little roles and appearances he did his thing. Like, really and truly, he filled in superbly for Gabriel Jesus. So we got to respect that. Where are our major targets? When you find out, let me know. It don't make sense. Think he'll compete with Odegaard and Vieira becomes back up to the left-sided centre mid. Why Havertz? He's bang average, and the amount of simple chances he misses is insane. He misses a lot of chances, and it's frustrating, really, and I share that on you. But I wouldn't say he's average. And even if he is average, you know, if you look at probably not the City team, that's not the best example, but you look at Man United sides that have won major trophies, Arsenal sides that have won major trophies, Chelsea sides that have won major trophies, etc., etc. There's been average players. Not everybody's a star boy. Not everyone's amazing. As long as you're competent, confident in your role and consistent, that's all we ask for, really and truly. Until Rice is signed, hopefully I'll feel both shaken about anyone else, but if we get him, I'll be more calm about it. Havertz is not a level raiser, plus it doesn't make sense given the fact Smith Rowe and Vieira there. I hear that. I mean, sacking Arteta is premature and allow Edu. If you register interest for Kai and we're closing in on Rice, we clearly have the money to sign both Deckers and Rice. No, I'd imagine so. I mean, Deckers and Caicedo. Havertz is a donkey. But hey, big up DG. Talk about Rice being expensive. What do you think? If the price is Rice, let's buy him. It is what it is, man. You know, I don't think it's isolated to Maguire, to Ndombele, to Pepe, to Declan Rice, to Enzo Fernandez, any kind of big money. Mbappe, when he actually signed for PSG, there's a lot of money in the game, and let's have it right. You know, clubs are not going to spend hundreds of millions of on players, give wages of, up to 300 grand plus a week if they're not making more on that, whether that's what you do on the sporting front and they achieve success, whether that's your image rights, whether that's people paying, for you to come and watch games because you're an exciting player, so on and so forth. So it's more of the belly of the beast, and football mirrors society. Like in this country, England, the rich are getting richer. You see the Tories and what they're doing, not to make this about political stuff. So football, there's money is rife, and we've gone a long way from what players are actually worth. Like, it's all about potential. Jude Bellingham, quality player, gone for 100-odd million. Tchouaméni, similar figure. It's all about potential. Vinicius, when he initially signed for Real Madrid. Now, if you develop and you do your thing for years to come, it doesn't matter. So it's either we adapt as a football club to this. I'm not saying spend recklessly, because we spent big money on players, not necessarily due to transfer fees, sometimes wages, and haven't been presented with enough bang for our buck. So it's either we find these emerging talents before they become household names and their price that comes with it, or you adapt to the game, or you sit around and cry. From a business point of view, do you really think Liverpool wanted to pay X amount of money for Van Dijk, as good as he is, and Alisson? It's a means to an end, and it's fair to say they paid off for that, really and truly. Haaland probably as cheap as it gets in the modern day, and that looks like a bargain. You look at Jack Grealish as well. It's means to an end. So yeah, Declan Rice is probably not worth 100-odd million, but he's not controlling that. And fundamentally, sorry for hitting the mic. Can you lot still hear me? If you do your job on the football pitch, no one's gonna talk. You know, it's a bit different, but we spent 50 million on Benjamin White off the back of one Premier League season. Not even when Benjamin White has a bit of a bad game, nobody talks about his price tag. Why? Because he's doing his job. First year, you all saw the Jamie Carragher's and Gary Neville's of this world after Brentford away. They all writ their conclusions, man. That money could be better spent on key needs. I hear that. Chelsea wanted to run to Arsenal. They've seen the light. Chelsea players wanted to run to Arsenal. They've seen the light. Bro, I'm not going to lie, bro. I've said it before. If we're going to steal someone off Chelsea, I wouldn't mind Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, but there's a certain creation midfielder that could be going City. Big up DG, big up Bosnian Powerhouse. Just remember, we was linked with Rashford and loads of people said no. Then the season after, he was insane. If they think he's the right guy, I trust Edu and Mikel. I'm backing the manager, but the real question is how it will be used. Hear that. Big up yourself, Miles. Caicedo should be the priority. He's mustard. Havertz, he is pants. I mean, we can't conflict the two. Just because we're going for Havertz doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to go for a Caicedo or a number 6. Bro, Aqua, you know, trust me. It is what it is. Deluded gangster, allow it, man. I see that pic on your IG. Allow me, I was on holiday many moons ago and we thank God for the glow up. To be honest, we always knew we were going to sign someone unknown / out the blue, but still doesn't make sense. Where will Havertz even play? He don't start for us. He's a depth signing, then calm. This might be controversial, but I think Arteta will get the best out of Havertz. He's going to have to. To be fair, Havertz was the hottest talent in Europe when Chelsea signed him. I wouldn't say the hottest, but he defo, you know, next Ozil, all of these things were being said. I don't think he's a bad player. Havertz has my stamp of approval. I'm not saying I'm for it, like get him signed today. Like, you know, someone mentioned Caicedo. If I could, today. Rice, today. Zubamendi, today. Lavia, today. You know, them kind of man, today. Mason Mount, I don't think he's a bad player. We're not going to get him, but we was previously linked with him. I hear it. I have my concerns, but I'm just saying I hear the angle. I see the angle, Mikel Arteta. I'm for it. You got to bring in some other additions and that, but I'm for it. I hear it. Havertz, I'm a bit, like I've said already, but I don't think it's a bad player. I think it's a decent addition, and ultimately, Arteta would have to sign him, and he has to do the business. It's as simple as that. Yes, DG, haven't caught alive in a minute. I take Havertz 100%. I think it's interesting, polarizing opinions from you lot, you know. Could be a sly, clever signing. He can play as an 8. Havertz was only hyped because of FIFA 2019. I don't think that's the case, but I hear that. I trust Arteta, but the potential sign of Havertz is really coming from him or Edu. I don't know. I mean, we make a big song and dance at this football club about collaboration, so there you have it. So we're funding Chelsea for Caicedo, typical Arsenal, probably. No, I would keep Eddie too. He finished his chances. He must be a good player. Why would Madrid, Bayern, and Arsenal be looking at him? If Havertz was balling still at Leverkusen, people would be saying different things. I'd agree. Balogun, defo moving on. That I didn't know already. We're going to get into all of that in a sec. I'm just enjoying you lot's comments, people. He's not trash. Havertz is not trash. You know, is there concerns? Yes, but you can't say a man's trash. We're talking our personal opinions about this Havertz stuff, and then we'll go and look at what's being said. And all I can say is if you sign him, which we got to remember, until a fee's been agreed, until a medical's been done, nothing's happened, I'm willing to give a man a chance, is all I'm saying. Who would Havertz rotate with? Not a clue, you know, but you'd imagine because of where he plays, you're fighting Odegaard for that spot. You're fighting in the number 8. He has played out wide. So, yeah, man. It's one of them, really. And we do need depth. We're going to, well, like at most teams in the top 6, we start in all these competitions. And I want to go all the way. And while I don't want players for the sake of it, we need more depth. We need squad depth. And I would say, obviously, where Havertz is concerned, I'm not going to say it's not an area we need depth, but it's a player that I just think there's more pressing areas, really, for the money you probably have to spend on him and the wages and all sorts without necessarily confirming a 6 or an 8. Let's not try and get hung up on what we'll probably do with Declan Rice signing and hopefully Caicedo, even though I think he's heading for the boys in blue. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to start calling him overrated the minute he does that. We've also once again been linked with, give me a second, Lavia. So we'll look into that. I'm concerned DG Rice deal and Caicedo deal can't stall. We need steel in midfield. I swear to God, man. You think we'll sell Smith Rowe? I don't think so, and I hope not, but anything can happen. And apparently it's come out that he won't leave. With Smith Rowe, I'm actually going to do a separate vid. Hopefully he can use this England under-21s, well, being on England duty with the under-21s in the championship as a pre-season, goes off the pre-season with us, gets his chance and takes it. At the end of the day, we need a squad. And while I love Saka, I love Martinelli, I love all of these guys at this club, you're not playing because you're nice guys, really. You know, you're playing because you got ability. And while I like the family aspect of this football club, we're here to win football matches. We're not here to make friends. Take someone's spot off them. Smith Rowe, you had that. Martinelli stole it off. You got to steal it back because that makes us stronger as a team. Martinelli, don't let him teeth it back. to the point where maybe if you can't grab Martinelli's spot and Odegaard's moving shaky, boom, come out the team or whatever and whatever. I'll have to suck it up. Why he pause, not happy about it, but he looks like they're gonna buy him again. For me, I'm more concerned about, cool, you can do your thing with Havertz, Mikel Arteta. I can see the angle of him signing for Arsenal, but we still need physicality in specifically the middle of the park. There's plenty of areas Arsenal need to improve, but for me personally, if we go into the new season, or better yet, when the transfer window ends, if midfield, specifically a number 8 and another 6, if you do not have a right back, if you do not have a right-sided centre-back, I'm going to be unhappy because I feel it's going to be more of the same, unfortunately. Do you think Arteta will change up his system / playing style next season to be less predictable to other teams or go for consistency? Take the consistencies and the base that you've got this season, but yeah, you need to have other sort of plans because as you saw in the Premier League, as the season started to go on, teams were reading it. You lock down Zinchenko, you kind of kill our build-up play. And as much as I love what Arteta is doing with him, I have a tough time accepting that you lock down a left back and we can't create. If you're rigid defensively, we're not going to go long and direct. We're going to play the neat 1-2s and stuff. We do the inverted fullbacks with Benjamin White. You need to double up, triple up against Bukayo Saka. Martinelli's going to be a mark man to a degree. What Jesus is coming with. So naturally, you're becoming a known entity. The difference with this season coming and last season in that nobody knows if Arsenal are going to get top 4, win the league, whatever, say with every team. But what you are now is a known entity. You're not a breath of fresh air, young players over exceeding expectations, all of that jazz. People are expecting certain things now, and much less the fans. With the Denver Nuggets winning, Kroenkes know they got to go big for us now, especially with Champions League funds and Tierney, Balogun, Xhaka sales in brackets. If signing Chelsea flopping, giving them funds for Caicedo deal will be typical Arsenal. I mean, Chelsea fans could say he's a flop, and ultimately it's not the Kai Havertz they thought they was getting, but can you really say a man that scored the Champions League winning goal is a flop? Big season for Arteta's boys to men. And the Wolves are going to be out for Mikel Arteta and everyone. Arteta's contracted until 2025. Rightly so. You'd imagine he gets a new deal, but with great praise comes great criticisms. Obviously, a lot of football fans are not fair. They'll hype you up positively, put you on unrealistic pedestals, and then when things go wrong, as football is an emotional game, they'll go over the top. A man said Havertz was great on my FIFA 20 save as a left-sided 8. Hopefully that can correlate to real life. Arsenal will never learn from buying Chelsea players. Havertz is living off the Champions League goal for ages. He is, man. And for me, the most concerning thing with Havertz, whether you play as a false 9 or on the wing or as an 8, I think you've got a good passing range. I think you're a good dribbler. I think technical level's great, all of that. But you miss some jolt man chances, really. But what I would say to that is, Odegaard's dropped his first significant goal-scoring season in the Premier League, 15. Saka, of the last 2 years under Arteta, has dropped his first standout seasons now with double figures. Martinelli, a player who people said Arteta don't like, has done that. Eddie Nketiah, I'm reaching a bit, but is developing. And likewise, people said Saliba when he went out on loan, Arteta don't like him. Arteta's shown he can develop players. Again, other spectrums, Partey kind of got back to his best this season until the end. Granit Xhaka's had a great season. So not everything Arteta touches is going to turn to gold, but he might be able to do a thing really and truly. And I wouldn't say pessimistic on this Havertz stuff, but initially he was linked with Real Madrid. Then it came out, he's overpriced. Prior to that, there was talk around Chelsea kind of issuing him an ultimatum in that you sign a new deal or you're getting sold, really and truly. You got to remember, Kai Havertz, you've got a lot of European-based players that are in contention of playing for their countries. There's a Euros to concern. I don't know if Pochettino keeps him and it's all fun and games, but moving to a club and playing in good form can impact that, really and truly. And regardless, Havertz is 24. It's now time to deliver now, but you've got age on your side, really, and you're the same age as Declan Rice. I can't lie, I had to look at that twice, really and truly. It's crazy. I actually want to see how long this man is under contract at Chelsea to kind of echo that point. He's under contract until 2025. So in the next 12 to 18 months, Chelsea have a decision to make if they haven't made one already. If they wrap up Rice and Caicedo, then I'll be calm with Havertz. I hear that. Rice is 24 years. Yeah, man. Big up, DG. Would you take Havertz over a fully fit Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Yeah, 100%. Home Office has signed new rules for overseas footballers. Clubs in England can have up to 2 to 4 overseas players without the necessary work permit points. Basically, clubs can sign anyone. Bro, people just don't understand football in certain clubs. Multiple players have not done the best at Chelsea and have done amazing elsewhere. I don't give a how good the players, no Chelsea players. In a circle, I hear that, but that tribalism might not take us to a nice place. How would you rate the new home jersey? The one that I've got on? 9 out of 10. His work ethic is not on Arsenal's levels. I hope it's not another Ozil situation. I'd have to see statistically the distance he covers. Gallas gave me PTSD. I mean, Gallas is the worst ever player we've signed from Chelsea because of how he carried himself. And I understand the concerns, you know. You don't really want to sign Chelsea scrap heaps and things, but if he comes and does the business, it's cool. All I'm saying is, pardon me, whether I like him or not, I'll give the man a chance until you show me something else. Scoring in a final hype. To be fair, we would like to be in the Champions League final, let alone score the winner, really. That what a way to live off that. Man said he's a false footballer. You're a bad guy, man. No, I actually need to go to Arsenal store and get the Champions League badges because we're back. And I feel a bit naked with this shirt because it ain't got the DG13 on the back. Like Gallagher going Spurs, Havertz to Arsenal, Mount to United. Boy, do you know what? The top 6 sides or English teams, they have to sell to each other. Ideally, you know, you want to sell abroad, but the Premier League's up there. The other divisions in Europe are down there. So they're the only ones willing to pay mega bucks. Havertz still has potential. You never know what a new manager can do to improve until it's done. It's not tribalism, DG. I wasn't talking about you directly. It's strategy. Don't help Chelsea with their rebuild. I hear that and you're not wrong. But if Arteta genuinely wants Havertz, then it doesn't really matter. And also with us football fans, you know, footballers come in different ways. You know, someone like Trossard, we obviously wanted to sign him. We tried to get Mudryk. His agent offered him to us and we went and done it. So it's not always a methodical approach. But to us football fans, we've been tentatively linked with him. Today it's come out, the Romanos, the Ornsteins, what have you. Every journalist is probably scrambling to write an article on Havertz that Arsenal want him. Do we really think that Havertz weren't on the list? I'm not saying he's the first choice. I'm not saying Arsenal were to get him. But we have to have been indirectly talking to his camp for months. We have to have considered that if we don't get X, Y, Z, even if we do, maybe we can get Havertz. I don't know. And he's 24. So you can't, probably the latter stages of the project, but you can't say, man, don't tie into what we're doing. I'm not against it. And I definitely share the comments about helping Chelsea's rebuild and that. So I hear that, man. I think some Arsenal fans are overdoing this Kai thing. He's 24 and Arteta wants him. Arteta showed me enough with his talent ID. So I'm going to give him a chance. Fair enough, really and truly. Wouldn't be mad at Havertz, but I feel he's too similar to our attackers. I hear that, Miles. Would want a different profile, Tony/Osimhen, but that also depends on what position Arteta sees him in. And we don't know this. Unless someone has Arteta's phone, unless you work with Edu, yeah, man. Arsenal need to confirm Caicedo and Rice. Right, I think we can get Rice. I'm pessimistic on Caicedo. I want to be wrong, but yeah. Big up DG. Who do you rate higher between Havertz and Ferguson? As a number 9, that Ferguson you. We need proven talent. Chelsea are going to slap a ridiculous price tag. I'd rather they went for a tall, powerful striker. Is he a striker or a creative player? He's clearly a false 9. You know, Havertz, despite the only common thing he has from if we was to sign a number 9 that I want is that he's 6 foot plus. Havertz's game is not hold up play, and he does look like he struggles at that. So yeah, I think he'll play as a striker at times, but I think you're a 10, you're an 8. You know, you might even indirectly play off the flanks, really and truly. So who knows? And I think somebody hit the nail on the head with that comment about we don't know what Arteta's got. Arteta's a madman. He's got that Pep gene. You know, we don't know. If he signs for us, everyone will have their opinions. But if he does the business, nobody cares. If he doesn't, rightly so, the club, you know, should be thingied. You mentioned Gallas the worst. What about Willian? Willian was rubbish, but I never had to doubt Willian's integrity with this football club. I never had to doubt his mentality. Gallas was a fucking pussy, pardon my language. You know, where disrespecting Arsenal's number 10. He's just a problem. Gallas signified everything that Wenger used. As much as I love Wenger, used to let slide. Wenger's biggest gift and curse is allowing players scope to do nonsense. Gallas was the worst ever player we signed for Chelsea. For me, Gallas is definitely one of the worst players we've ever signed during the Emirates era, regardless of his ability. Shout out to him for scoring against Chelsea, though. Big up the legend, DG. If I'm legend, it's because you lot are legendary. I feel like Arteta sees something in Havertz. Well, he better for the money he's going to be on. He better see something. He better, because right now, some of you might be Stevie Wonder. Wallad, bro. Gallas, I can't say I hate you from a human point of view. That's too far, and I don't know you. Slap the like button. We've got 60 likes. Can we get 100? But from a footballer, I hate you. I hate your guts. I hate the fact that you talk about Arsenal. Don't get twisted. If you want to do an interview and get me some views and that, or you can switch this up on a quick thing. But I don't like you. Like, I genuinely don't like you. Like, I've seen your behavior live with my own eyes at the Emirates. I don't like you. Hey, allow me with them thing there, man. The social media is crazy, man. But with that being said, let's actually look at it, specifically what's being said with, you know, the journalists and all of them. Let's put transfer news. Is what it is. Bro, number 10, but Wenger allowed the foolishness. Fuck Gallas, man. Yeah, bro, shameless. I'm just trying to make it, bro. Like, I'm just trying to make it, man. In my opinion, Havertz ain't going to upgrade Arsenal. Seen him have bare howlers, miss bare sitters. He does. But is it a Jesus stray? Jesus has missed enough for them. He didn't deserve that. But yeah, let's get into it. Keep your thoughts on what not coming, people. And I hear you. In the Xhaka role, he could do a madness, but he isn't as physical as Xhaka. Not that Xhaka's physical, but for what it's worth, the Oracle David Ornstein has said Arsenal have made an opening. Sorry, I don't know if you lot can see. I got a comment there. Francis, big up yourself. I take Havertz instantly at 30 million. Great backup and squad depth. I just don't want to pay something that will impact our transfer strategy. You're right. Allegedly, Romano's got a new tweet. We will get in there. Someone else remind me of that. But as I was saying before, I rudely interrupted you lot. Arsenal have made an opening proposal to recruit forward Kai Havertz from Chelsea. The North London club hold a strong interest in Havertz and are now working to sign the 24-year-old. Arsenal's pursuit, which is still at a relatively early stage, has stepped up in recent days following contact with Chelsea and Havertz. So there must, with Havertz camp, whether that's speaking directly to Havertz, his advisors, or through a middleman, and obviously with Chelsea, which we have to, on a footballing field, no, but business, we have to have a decent relationship with Chelsea because we've been dealing with them a lot now. There must be some encouragement with Arsenal from Chelsea or Havertz to believe this is feasible. Bayern Munich, who were coached by Thomas Tuchel, are also admirers of the German international who has 2 years left on his contract at the bridge. And we got to remember it says early stage. So Arsenal have shown they'll walk away with things. You walk away from things. So nothing is set in stone yet. We have to watch how these things there develop, people. And we need to use our brains, which all of you lot are, because you're rocking with the best YouTuber at this. If Thomas Tuchel wants him, who are we really? That puts Chelsea at a crossroads. Ideally, they would look to tie Havertz down to fresh terms or sell him for an acceptable price. This is not a hard and fast rule, though. And if the attacker stays, there is optimism he'll return to the form under incoming head coach Pochettino after a difficult season. But should a deal emerge that suits all parties, it's highly possible Havertz will depart. The Athletic has reported this week that Chelsea need to trim their squad, not just to offset past spending, but also to fund signings in this window. Yeah, big fan of Todd Burhey and Chelsea. FFP are not acting like they ain't got funds. You already showed your hand, really, and everyone's kind of shook now. They better be taking Pepe. Well, you might as well drive him there and leave him there. I don't know what that is. Since joining Chelsea, you know what, we'll get away with this, but for what it's worth, since joining Chelsea from Leverkusen 3 years ago in a deal worth up to 90 million, Havertz has made 139 appearances for the club, scoring 32 goals and 15 assists. So despite playing up front, he's not really there, man. Really, in terms of that. Arsenal, meanwhile, plan to make West Ham United an offer for Declan Rice soon. On that, people, I've got a video coming out with a West Ham fan actually speaking about Declan Rice. I need to just make the timestamp, man said timestamp, the thumbnail. Arsenal, meanwhile, plan to make West Ham United an offer for Declan Rice soon. There's been positive dialogue around the matter and a bid is expected to be lodged in due course. There is no desire at Arsenal to waste anybody's time, so they plan to formalise their efforts, once the situation is in good shape. Mikel Arteta's players return from their summer break in the first week of July, ahead of a training camp in Germany. Arsenal would like to strengthen Arteta's squad by then, but if not, then ideally they would have done so before leaving on July the 16th for a tour in the US. Big up the USA ones, man. Really. We all know Declan Rice had a good season. He's won trophy. We all know he's in high demand and he's a flexible player. With the greatest of respect to David Ornstein, we don't need to waffle about that. Apparently, Arsenal are in talks to sign Kai Havertz after positive contacts on the player side. He's keen on the move. Chelsea want around 75 million for Havertz now. Arsenal will not pay that amount. Real Madrid talks currently off Arsenal's priority bid for Declan Rice soon. 75 million. You better half that and keep it moving, really and truly. So, apparently one of you, well, Joe Bellingham, probably not the Bellingham that anyone really cares for at this moment in time because his brother's gone to Madrid, has signed for Sunderland. There's a new tweet. Apparently, more on Kai Havertz, says Romano. Sources feel Chelsea could be flexible about the price tag after the initial 75 million request considered too high by Arsenal. Players keen on the move. It could help Arsenal in the negotiation. Real Madrid won't even pay 50 million for Havertz as of now. So, boy, that should tell you everything, really and truly. So we have to see how that develops. We've gone over that. Arsenal are interested in Kai Havertz, but are unwilling to go near the 75 million valuation. And he's on 250 grand a week, where I don't know if you're going to get that, Arsenal. But regardless, you'd imagine that him, Declan Rice, they're going to be nearer the top earners. So that should push them to either assume on paper, Odegaard, Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, and obviously Saliba, if expected, these lot put pen to paper. Havertz will get us 10 goals. We need more of that, man. We need more than 10 goals, really, if he's playing in that position. Apparently, people, Real Madrid showed an interest. They've moved away from that. It has left the Gunners, better yet, as Havertz's best option, but he remains priced out of a move to any club. Bayern Munich have held an interest in bringing the former Leverkusen man back to his homeland, but will not pursue a deal this summer. So, Bayern Munich are interested. They're not involved. Real Madrid were interested. They're not involved. Is Arsenal the only offer on the table? Really and truly, assuming that's the real Carefree Lewis, you need to reply to your DMs because you're the perfect man to ask about this. I ain't gonna fall for that, man. Really, if he signs for Arsenal, give me a generational talent. I'll be shameless next Mesut Ozil and that. But if you're rejoicing, they're trying to bandulu us, really and truly. Chelsea are open to keeping Havertz should no substantial offers arrive, though it remains to be seen if the club's transfer chiefs are prepared to drop their valuation should the interest increase. Obviously, Mason Mount's situation is almost identical. The difference is he's got 1 year left on his deal and his contract ends in 2024. We were linked with him along with Liverpool. It appears Manchester United are the front runners. Chelsea are holding firm on wanting 70 million. Well, you can't bandulu us, mate. You can't bandulu us. You know what? I'm not against Havertz, but this man here, Kovacic, is the man I want if we're going to trouble Chelsea for any players. And for the money he's going to be on and the fee, regardless of if it's 40 to 75 million, which I hope it's nowhere near there, how does that impact a Caicedo or a number 6? How does that impact a Declan Rice? Because we also have to get rid of a number of players. But if we're getting rid of a number of players and we're bringing in a significant amount into the club, maybe we can take this risk, 45 million. Where would you play him? And unless we're gonna get Ian Wright and Henry to work with you as a striker, and Arteta doing, showing him how to move like a false 9, maybe Trossard and Martinelli can lend a helping hand. For me, you need to play 8 or a 10. You could even fill out wide. I've said I'm not really here for the false 9 thing anymore. I am, but I think if Arsenal are going to sign Kai Havertz, who's primarily played up front this year for Chelsea, bro, you're a midfielder. Like, you are a midfielder. The problem with Havertz is what I find with a lot of players, in that you can play everywhere, but what is your best thing? You're a master of, you're a jack of all trades. You're not necessarily a master of any. And make sure you bring your Germany form, not that Chelsea form, people. So it appears that at this moment in time that could be his only offer on the table. Arsenal keen on signing Havertz, with Chelsea set to demand a fee of 70 million. Arsenal, please, man, please. Apparently, he's told Chelsea he wants to leave this summer, allegedly. So that could strengthen his hand. He's out of contract until 2025, where you actually never know. If he has a good season under Pochettino and the goals and has a decent Euros, I don't think Chelsea are going to make back their bread, but they would be able to kind of revisit this situation next summer, really. And it seems like everyone's getting out of Chelsea. While nothing's been done, Mason Mount could be going United, Kovacic could be going Man City, Kante's going Middle East and getting that money, probably a couple of other outgoings as well. Really and truly, maybe Pochettino chats to him and says, you know what, you're staying. Again, Arsenal, who are close to bolstering their midfield with the signing of Declan Rice, could give Havertz a chance to use his creativity and play in attacking midfield more. But I'm only here for this attacking midfield thing. Game to game, you could do up front stuff, but forget that. It remains to be seen whether Chelsea would sell him to their London rivals. Their options may be limited if Madrid manage to sign either Harry Kane or Kylian Mbappe. Much of the focus for Chelsea is on outgoings, which were helping them out, people. Apparently, on the topic of Caicedo, Gabby Vega, we want them. Chelsea also want them. Apparently, they were rejected for Mike McGahn of AC Milan. This article has also said Arsenal are also interested in Lavia, people. So we'll have to see exactly what's being said, but nothing's set in stone. Arsenal are interested in Kai Havertz and will move for the Chelsea star after luring Declan Rice, allegedly. So everybody's kind of saying the same thing. Arsenal are keen on Havertz and will look to prize the 24-year-old away from Stamford Bridge after Rice puts pen to paper in North London. Whether it's Caicedo, Lavia, Zubimendi, go and get a number 6 before you do these things, really and truly. So we'll have to see how that develops. But from a lifestyle point of view, clearly if you just look on his Instagram, him and his missus, they love London. I don't know if you'd have to move house because you'd probably have to be closer to Arsenal's training ground, but you'd be in London. Smith Rowe is set to stay at Arsenal, really. And I'm going to do a separate video on Smith Rowe because I really puff out my chest. And I'm not saying Smith Rowe is going to be the player of the season in the Prem or for Arsenal, but I think he's back next season. Buy your Smith Rowe stocks when they're low. I don't turn on my guy. He's going to have a good Euros tournament for England at under 21s level. He's going to have a great pre-season. He's going to initially be on the bench for Arsenal. But when his chance comes, the 22-year-old's going to remind you, and don't come back. If you sold your stocks in Smith Rowe, don't come back. Don't come back. We don't want you back here. And to be fair, it wouldn't even make sense selling Smith Rowe right now after, giving up on him, because his valuation is probably on the floor, really. Moving on to Caicedo, Chelsea ready to match Arsenal's bid for Caicedo. Go away, man. Chelsea are prepared to match any bid Arsenal make for Caicedo. What problem is Chelsea will probably structure a deal in more realistic terms for Brighton, really. But we hope our good relations with Brighton work, and we hope if two identical offers on the table, I hope the lure of the Champions League is one thing, but I hope he's enticed by whatever Mikel Arteta tells him and whatnot, people. Bayern Munich are also allegedly looking at Caicedo. Paris Saint-Germain need to be looking at guys like this. Both Chelsea and Arsenal have been interested in the 21-year-old and made moves to sign him in January, with the Gunners seeing a bid of around 70 million rejected. Smash the like button, people. And I'm pretty sure we've covered this several times. You're hearing it's going to take around 80 million as a minimum to get him. And he has signed a new contract until 2027 at Brighton with the option of another year. The Seagulls are holding out for a bid of 70 million plus a further 10 million in add-ons if they are to let go of one of their stars. While Arsenal and Chelsea hold the most concrete interest in the midfielder, fellow Premier League giants Liverpool and Man United have also monitored Caicedo, but the two London clubs are believed to be leading the race, people. So we'll have to see. You'd imagine when Declan Rice is done, there could be a dominoes effect, man. Chelsea always, man, marking our transfer interest. To be fair, I saw a Chelsea link to Caicedo way before Arsenal, and everyone wants good players. Di Marzio has spoken as well, people. He has said on a couple of midfielders in relation to Arsenal. Arsenal are in pole position, and the priority of the player is to stay in the Premier League. I think that's in relation to Rice. But in the transfer window, things can change despite the clubs being in pole position, as we saw with Mudryk. Even Bayern Munich know that the priority of the player is to stay in the Premier League, so Arsenal has the possibility, to close. Of course, it depends on a lot of things, but Arsenal have the possibility to close the deal in their hands. Moving on, people, he said, Declan Rice and Caicedo will be a domino effect. If Rice goes to Arsenal, Caicedo is Chelsea or Bayern's. I don't know. It's a case of getting 2 and 2 and just being creative. If Caicedo goes to Chelsea, Bayern can go and get Amrabat, who's been linked with Barca. So these, I think, the three midfielders that can move in the international transfer market for top clubs. Even Barella, but I don't think Inter want to sell him. But Barella is another midfielder that Liverpool wants. They've got a McAllister, but they like Barella too. Arsenal, Barcelona, and Juventus are all interested in Cancelo. Didn't he spend time there? The top clubs want a player like Cancelo. Juventus would like to have him on loan, as with Barcelona. He's on their list. Arsenal, Barcelona, and Juventus are the clubs interested in him. On Gundogan, he has said, Man City are trying to renew Gundogan's contract, and in the next weeks will be decisive for Gundogan whether he will stay or not. Fair enough. I think, well, I don't understand German. I'm not going to lie to you, but what's this article saying here? Pardon me, I think it's the same Caicedo stuff, so we won't get hung up on that, and we'll leave that alone. Apparently, you know, Ben Jacobs is thinking we could sign 3 players, people. There was a big article about a Rice agreement, and they're also looking at Caicedo and Gundogan. The way I read it was like they're going for all 3. Can you see that being plausible? Yes is the short answer. I can't. Arsenal will have a healthy budget, and a budget isn't as black and white as people think. When people hear Rice and the guaranteed fee will be under 100 million, and then bonuses and add-ons as well, he'll be pushing 100 million. You hear Caicedo at 80, and then you hear it's 180, and you want X, Y, Z. It doesn't work like that because you don't know the payment terms. 100 million for Rice doesn't mean 100 million on the books up front, but we do hear where Rice is concerned, you know, and I did a video on this with a West Ham fan. You'll see it come out. They want it structured over 2 years. So, for instance, you know, they want 40 million this year, 40 million next year, and you can run us the next 10 when you can pattern it. 100 million for Rice. Well, sorry, we've already looked at this, or have we? 100 million for Rice doesn't mean 100 million on the books up front. You don't know what the player commercially will bring the clubs that he'll offset. There are all kinds of things that play into what you can and can't spend. That's why Chelsea have been able to spend 600 million quid again. Who knows, people? Pepe is open to a move to the Middle East as his Arsenal days are numbered. He earns 140 grand a week at Arsenal. And you'd imagine if you're bringing in Declan Rice, Caicedo, Havertz, and all these guys, we're going to need to spread our resources better. So with Cedric, who's on decent money, Pepe's on decent money, we have to see. And you want us to wonder about our wage bill. I'm no accountant, and it's not a base salary for Reece Nelson, but you hear Reece Nelson could earn as much as 100 grand a week at Arsenal if certain variables are hit. The same goes for Eddie, who signed a recent contract. Saliba, Martinelli, and Saka are going to sign for significant base fees or base wages, let alone in terms of incentives. Obviously, if you bring in Declan Rice, he's going to be on decent money. What does that mean for the wage bill, and how does that affect our ability to bring in players? So we're going to have to get players gone. You've got Marie off the wage books. Hopefully, you get Pepe and Cedric. Xhaka looks like he's going Leverkusen, which, again, Xhaka's a bit of an exception to them because he's actually good, but he's on decent money. So we'll have to see how things develop. Apparently, Kylian Mbappe remains in contact with Premier League clubs. We ain't got no chance of signing you, my guy. Maybe when you're 34 or something, or when Real Madrid want to get rid of you. Apparently, Arsenal have renewed interest in Caicedo, who is likely to cost 80 million. 2 Italian clubs have shown interest in Partey, who has 2 years left on his contract. Arsenal could be keen to offload him if they can get a Caicedo deal over the line. In terms of freeing up wages and resources, yes, I think it would be suicidal, pardon me, and absolutely stupid if you let Partey go. We let Xhaka go. I think you need Caicedo and Rice and Partey, wherever you're doing, really. So we'd have to see in that regards, really. We've already seen that, so I won't waste your time with that. We've already seen that. I won't waste your time with that. Ben Jacobs has said, Man City must also resolve the future of Caicedo. Although Caicedo is open to staying at Bayern, the German champions won't pay the 70 million euro buy clause. Arsenal appreciate Caicedo too, and the feeling is he will leave Man City this summer. So I can't see us doing all this. In relation to Caicedo, Sky Germany have said he was discussed at Bayern in the last days, as he still has no agreement with Chelsea or Liverpool yet. Where's Arsenal's name on that in that statement, though? Bayern is still monitoring his situation, but Chelsea is still pushing. Tuchel has other plans and is not pushing for him at this stage. Chelsea not too. Arsenal are interested in Lavia, as we've seen already, people. Deco of Barcelona, who's gone from being an agent that works with them to some sort of director. Deco is looking into the possibility of Cancelo's arrival in a loan deal. There was a conversation with Mendes this week. The main problem is that Man City wants to sell the player, and this complicates the matter because of the high financial demands. Arsenal would be prepared to step up their interest in Havertz if his price tag drops significantly. We've got to remember the market has just opened, so there's a lot of game playing with a lot of clubs, people. Apparently, Ben Jacobs has an update here. Arsenal value Kai Havertz significantly below Chelsea's 75 million valuation and have made an initial proposal, as David Ornstein's reported. Arsenal feel the price will drop and Havertz is open to the move. Chelsea not against keeping Havertz, but if he stays, Chelsea want a new deal agreed. Alex Cook has said we're interested in him. Clubs some way apart in terms of valuation, but one to keep an eye on, people. So we'll have to see in that regards, people. So yeah, every journalist under the sun has said stuff. Charles Watts has said, as far as I've been told, Kai Havertz is a player of interest to Arsenal for this summer. He's very much on the list of potential targets. Big up Arsenal Buzz. You got anything for me? Tell me Mbappe said, forget Madrid. I want to sign for Arsenal. Apparently, Ryan Taylor has said, on Arsenal's interest in Kai Havertz, sources indicate he's available for considerably less than the 70 to 75 million valuation being reported, provided he doesn't agree to extend his Chelsea contract. And that's also true, you know. I think where you look at Cody Gakpo and Mudryk, what's actually going on in the football world to what's being talking about in the media are two different things. We'll never know how close or how far these deals actually are, man. So yeah, man said, what are we doing? A GoFundMe for Chelsea to buy Caicedo. We need to do that for Mbappe. Again, we've seen that already. Should we see what Goal.com has said in relation to transfer news? Partey set for a shock Arsenal exit. I think we'd be crazy to do that. From a financial point of view, freeing up his wage is great, but football, which comes first? We need to keep, man. Bayern Munich are not in the race for Rice. Juventus want Balogun to replace Vlahovic. You know, Balogun's doing all right, isn't it? 1 minute it's Napoli want you to replace Osimhen, and now you're going to replace Vlahovic, who's actually been linked with Chelsea. We're set to sign Declan Rice for 100 million quid. We've been linked along with Paris Saint-Germain to sign Elise of Palace. Bring Eze too while you're at it. We're preparing a 35 million bid for Cancelo. Perez has confirmed our interest in Caicedo. I hope he signs for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta wants him. He's got all the tools needed to succeed at Arsenal. The club are willing to pay big money for him, and that's testament to his ability. As we know, Nelson has agreed a new deal. We have been linked with Juventus's Chiesa, who's available for 60-odd million euros. I'm all for that. We've been linked with Cassandra of Leicester, as you lot know, which could be a cut price option if we do not pursue Cancelo, and obviously Fresnay, though. We've actually been linked with Ruben Neves as well, again, so check that out. Smith Rowe's drawing interest from West Ham, forget about it. Yuri Tellerman's rumours are finally put to bed at Arsenal because he has signed for Aston Villa. Yeah, Saliba agreed a new deal. We're still interested in Cancelo. So apart from Havertz, which has been linked with us for the last few days, there ain't really any new names. You keep hearing Zubamendi, Lavia, Fresnadar, Declan Rice, Caicedo. Feel free to add any names here that I've missed out. So with that, it don't appear that there's anything groundbreaking or new, people, in that regard. So yeah, that's that. But no doubt, I'm missing out some of you lot's thoughts. So let me know your thoughts on everything. I can see Vieira being loaned out if we sign Havertz. Edu is just decreasing Havertz's value for Chelsea. Smith Rowe and Vieira have to show their levels. We are only left with Partey, Odegaard and Jorginho as for now. For Kai, 35 to 45 million tops. Mikel Arteta's talent ID I respect. Upgrade to Reece and Vieira, in my opinion. Adds a third 9 option if Balogun is sold. And to be fair, we're going to have to get our move on with the sales. You know, Granit gone. Sorry for hitting the mic. Granit gone. Balogun gone. I don't know if Lokonga and Tavares will get permanent fees, but maybe loans. But hopefully they're gone. Cedric gone, Pepe gone, Marie's gone already. Feel free to interject any names, really. We're gonna have to sign a new mid. Even if we sign Caicedo and Rice, we're gonna have to sign a new centre mid next season, in my opinion. You can 100% take Cancelo, though. You saw the trouble he caused us, so wouldn't be surprised if you don't want him. Gundogan, I'd love to keep. Maidenhead, big up yourself. I didn't even know you was a City fan. That's the thing, with Cancelo. Obviously, new club, new environment. When he went on loan over there at Bayern Munich, you did hear concerns about training. Obviously, he's had a bust up with Pep. Respectfully, if you can act up on the Thomas Tuchel / Nagelsmann, well, not really, just Thomas Tuchel. If you can act up with Pep and what Bayern Munich and Man City is, what's going to stop you from taking a P at Arsenal? I don't know. Cohesion and identity is already there. We need quality and versatile replacements. Cassandre, Rice, Caicedo, Havertz. You have to understand the gap between the way fans see players and the way the pros see players. Exactly. I've done interviews with Arsenal players, the youth players, and you can go see them from a few years ago. They said El Nene's a baller in training, which he is. Obviously, in the world of professional football, he's not a baller like that, but you get the point. Apparently, Smith Rowe might leave or be loaned out in Gen if he doesn't get enough minutes. That is something that will have to be explored. I think Havertz is a good player. I like his profile. Maybe we see Odegaard play left 8. I've said Odegaard needs to be groomed to play that 8 role one day. In my opinion, with Rice and Havertz, I don't see us getting Caicedo. I think Arteta will be happy with them two as a midfield. Rice as a 6, Havertz as an 8. As much as Rice never gets injured, but if anything happens to Rice, we're back to square one. And I still think we need to keep El Nene for what it's worth for a year. Leave Caicedo alone, please. DG, we don't need Havertz. Please sign outside this, mate. I'm just a fan like you lot. I just happen to have a YouTube channel. I don't know what we're going to do. Someone tag Saudi officials and let them know Havertz is available. I'd rather spend that money on keeping Balogun. Don't think we have to do that. Big up Miguel in sunny Spain. The problem with Havertz is that he can't hold down a position. He's going to have to hold down something. We'll give it a chance. They clearly see something. If it was up to fans, Brendan Rodgers would have been a manager. Ryan Fraser and Brendan would be at our club. Don't forget Owen Coyle. This is about as exciting as dry white rice. The fee they want is also absolute wildness. We'll have to see, man. I don't think it will be like that, though, man. I mean, we got to remember the market's just open. There's going to be a lot of game playing. Really and truly, we'll have to see. But I'm not against it, man. If Edu and Arteta are really interested in Kai Havertz, it means there's something they're seeing which our supporters can't see. They have to. They're the ones paid to manage a multi-million-pound business, which is a football club, unfortunately. We're just common fans. And we're not always wrong, but we're not always right. If fans had theirs, whether you like Ramsdale or not, he's been a good signing for us. Benjamin White's been a good signing for us. And there's probably several other examples, really. Clubs are never going to win. Big up yourself, my City guy. Can you be nice? You let Liverpool win the league. Throw the league. In fact, Maidenhead, tell your City boys to let us get 3 points because you're always twerking for Spurs away. Thought Arteta was one of you lots as well as us. Don't care for another Pepe experiment. Get quality. Tierney as well. Holding. I don't know if Holding will go. It all depends on the offers, but you're right. Austin Trusty, you are also correct. Will probably just make a money for us. I would like Arda Güler. Apparently, he's available for 17.5 million euros. I just think while he's one for the future and he's got a lot of ability, I just think Arsenal will say whether he's good or not, we're probably well stocked in that area. And if we're going to go after Havertz, Caicedo, Rice, Gundogan, all of these guys, there's probably just not enough resources to go around, really. I mean, if Partey is allowed to leave, you need to get Caicedo because it's back to square one, really. Yeah, when everyone's fit, but Arsenal fans like to do this thing of, if Saliba was fit, we might have won the league. That's true. Injuries happen. If your system is contingent on one player not being there and we go down the toilet, we're in issues. And when you look at it, as much as I feel we've improved defensively, and I do think if Saliba was fit, we might have done a lot better. Saliba's injury just highlighted the fact that we've improved as a team defensively, but we've got a long way to go. Even when you go on the Premier League website, people, we actually haven't kept that many clean sheets, or we've dramatically improved in front of goal, but we haven't actually kept that many clean sheets in comparison to the season before. Argue with the data, not myself. Now, data is nothing without context, but you lot know me. I've been very passionate on us needing to go up a gear defensively. And it's not just our defenders, it's the whole outlook of our whole football team. And I don't think we'll see our full potential. We've seen little bits of it, 80-odd goals. The man, them are all scoring goals. We're flirting with it in an attacking sense. Defensively, we're flirting with it. I personally, as myself, I don't think we'll go to that level that I want Arsenal to go until that midfield is addressed. If there is one area that needs to be addressed this summer, it's that midfield and defensive options. You don't have that, forget about everything. Forget about it. It'll be more of the same. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. It's just You look at what sides that have won leagues have required, where Arsenal need to go. That's the road we need to go down. Skamaka going back to Rome. It's a shame, man. He just doesn't fit what David Moyes requires. Big up yourself, Zed. Player is 24. How many Chelsea players in attack? None of them have blossomed. Not a single Chelsea player is thriving, really, in the Chelsea lineup. So you have to give them a bit of tax. Kai is electric, good in the air. I wouldn't say he's good in the air necessarily. He can glide past defense, knows where the goal is, does he? And he's a good passer. More importantly, can play across the front line. DG, I think we'll go for Lavia, but I'm not convinced of him on the ball, especially coming into our team. I still think Lavia is a bit naive, and you saw it if Marcel's still here in that crazy game on the last day of the season between Southampton and Liverpool, where he basically set up Liverpool. But I don't expect Lavia to be all the way there yet. You've just basically joined Southampton and started playing. You're not. I think he is very decent on the ball. As someone that watched him at City in the academy days, obviously many gears to go up. I mean, Vieira, I'm just not being funny, but Vieira, you've got Edu and the Brazilian Dons. You've got Eddie and Nketiah and Balogun and Saka. While they all play their international football for different countries, they're of West African heritage. You've got El Nene there, Egypt. You've got plenty of different cultures. Obviously, the English boys can nice you. There's plenty of food that you can eat to bulk up. He needs to go gym. He needs to get them supplements. Didn't Eddie and Nketiah have a personal trainer? He needs to do that. For Vieira, you're there technically. I just think you need to assert yourself a bit more, and you need to go gym, really. Or if not go gym, call your fellow Portuguese man in Bernardo Silva, because he don't look dramatically physical, but for some reason he don't get moved off the ball. So you need to learn from him. Although, if Pep has his way, he's not going to give Arsenal any secrets. Getting Caicedo fixes our defensive issues as well. I think it gives us depth. I think the training ground, the mentality around training, really and truly, because there's teams below us in the league, only City was above us, that have and will miss out on defensive players, and the absence won't be less there. Brighton's a great example. There has to be a reason beyond the obvious, us being more stocked in attack than defense, as to why when Jesus was injured, it was business as usual. When Saliba got injured, Holding, I don't think played as bad as people making out. Even in them games, we had enough to do well, but you see what he does for the system. Kirill came into his own, but the jury's still out. And we can't afford that to happen. I mean, we hate Spurs. We all hate Spurs, man. I hope we get Rice, man. Edu can't fumble this window. I'm not expecting him to do everything. You can't get everybody out, bring everybody in. That goes for every club, but significant business. And for me, as I said, I don't want to get hung up on names. I just want to see when the window shuts, I've got my midfield sorted. I feel a lot stronger defensively. If you can bring me a striker or someone that can mix it up there, if you can bring me a winger, go win it. Really. And to be fair, with the Jesuses and Havertz, they could probably fill in for Saka if and when required. Really, even though I would like an out-and-out option. We've got 96 likes, people. If you've hit the like button, God bless you. I don't know if you've covered this yet, but Chelsea need to make sales by the 30th of June, so we could get Havertz for quite cheap. Where is the articles around that? Because every window, it does come out with all of these sort of things. Don't care for another Pepe experience, get quality. Marie's gone. Big up Monza. I'm supporting Monza in Italy next year because they stayed up. Had they have not stayed up, that would have been one more thing on Edu's whiteboard to have to address this summer. And also, you got to remember, as much as it's on the clubs moving people on, it's the agent's job as well. Some agents are just not that good. Some players, I'm not saying Cedric and Pepe are, or Havertz at Chelsea, but they might not, for all the talk, they might not be that keen on the move. They're on good money. The wifey's happy in London. Kids are in school and all of that. Your agents need to do their jobs. Agents, the reason we got Trossard. His agent gave an interview and said, I offered it. Arsenal said, you know what? No, Mudryk, Trossard, Premier League proven. That's one less player that's going to, get onto us. Where on earth do you fund? I think you mean fund your rivals to outbid you by giving you their trash. But you have to talk to Edu, man. What I would say, Havertz's interest is shown that Edu and Arteta are unafraid to make unpopular decisions. They've made difficult decisions that haven't necessarily been popular. Finishing must improve, 0 questions, but rest of the game pretty saucy. It's just end product main concern. That's true. But what I would say to that is, ain't Kai Havertz a end product player? Like, ain't you got to be one of them, man, there? So, yeah, man, it does have to improve. Big up DG. We have to spend over 50 million for Havertz. According to reports, Real Madrid won't go over 50 million. Boy, I hope the man them have a plan in it. That's all I can say. I hope Mikel Arteta and Edu have a plan. Things go wrong all the time. So they need a plan. He was touted as the next Ozil, not the next closer. And that's it. Bro, I don't think Havertz is a bad player in it. I don't think it addresses, beyond you just being a good player and mixing in what we've got, I don't think it addresses what we need. But cool, man. Havertz is a good player, but doesn't have any intensity. Can't see him being an Arsenal player. We need quality up front. I want Osimhen, but that's just a dream. I wanted Tony, but yeah, man, gambling and that. I hate Guardiola. We could have hustled Kovacic easily. I agree with you, not with the hating Guardiola stuff, but it seems like Havertz is, Kovacic has been fairly attainable. Had we have wanted him, I think had the club been that legitimately interested in him, we surely could have, pardon me, got that done, but it don't look like that's a thing really and truly. Is there any updated news? Just every journalist, saying everything, and it all depends what you read as well, people. If you look at this again, Mr. Simon Phillips, I DM'd him a few weeks ago, actually. I DM all these guys trying to get videos for you. I won't hot up the name, but I shouted someone and they quoted me a serious figure to get them on my channel. It's cool. Time is money. Unfortunately, Chelsea are in a position where we have to accept the offers we get wherever they're from. Clearly not, really, We'll take Kovacic for £2 and a handshake then. We need to balance the books. Really? The spending was unsustainable? Wow. We need to balance the books, reduce squad size and buy more players. I guess it's needs must. Offers are not flooding in. There you have it, really. And, who knows? Man United, for all the talk about getting Mason Mount, it's not that it's gone quiet, but it's gone quiet. Havertz is gone quiet. So as the window goes on, maybe Chelsea are accepting that what you value as a player and what clubs are prepared to pay because of your situation could be two very different things. I don't know. Just a football fan. I don't think we lack attackers, but yeah, man. Guy is lightweight, output for money. Nah, mate, you can keep him. Having Havertz in the Arsenal team is having another lazy like Vieira. A bit harsh. I don't think he's lazy. Havertz, is Edu and Arteta having a laugh? He doesn't solve any of our problems. I'm not saying the jury's not out, but people were onto Jorginho before we signed him. A couple of content creators were there getting clickbait articles of just casting the man off for all his faults. Some fans can accept that he's all right. So all I'm saying with Havertz is I'll just simply give a man a chance. I'll give, regardless of what I think, I'll give a man a chance. One of the most, and I'm not comparing him to this. Every now and again, Arsenal sign a player and I get very upset. David Luiz, I was vexed because ultimately, you still had the same issues. But when we signed Luiz, I was a lot more fond of him. Willian, I was proven right. Cool. What's his face? There's definitely Danny Welbeck. And it's, God forgive me, but I prayed that his medical didn't work. Because I remember, I swear it was deadline day or something. There was England international duty. They were asking Jack Wilshere about it. I was not for it at all. Welbeck was an easy guy to banter to your United brethren and calm on. God said, you know what? On to you, yeah? This is it. I'm not going to lie, I became very fond of Welbeck. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but there's even times this season where I'm like, Wells could have been all right. No, Havertz's career is on the line with this move. This is his wake-up call. You got to be on it to play for Arteta. We won't run out of steam or options towards the end of the season if we get Rice and Caicedo. You can never guarantee that, but we'd be a lot more equipped to deal with that. Please take Havertz 60 million, then we Chelsea can sign Osimhen. Big fan of Chelsea acting broke, Big fan of it. My main targets were Rice, Caicedo, Gundogan, Cancelo, Gurhi. The Gurhi links kind of went a bit quiet. We were linked with Gurhi. An attacker is a bonus from my expectation of targets. I share that opinion. I think an attacking player for me coming into this club would be a bonus. It's hard for Havertz to score 10 goals in a season. I hear that. Maybe Nketiah goes in another direction. Again, I can't lie to you. If I can have a conversation with Arteta and he says, you know what, DG, we're going to sign midfield, we're going to do these things, but we're not going to get a striker, and Balogun's going to leave. I'm not going to lie to you. Eddie has to stay, whether you rate him or not. He's one of the closest things we got to an out-and-out striker, let alone with Jesus. The false nine thing, it can only run certain games. There's games you can utilize it, but we need one of them. So yeah, man. Jorginho, Rice, Odegaard, team full of leaders. I'm in tears, and to be fair to Havertz, he's got mentality still. Arteta watched Havertz, scouts watched him, so they must see something we as fans don't see. If Havertz flops, it's on Arteta. I back our manager, not happy with it though. And that's what you can say. I back my manager. I'm not going to back someone blindlessly. Like, I'm going to think, oh, what's that about? But Arteta showed me enough to say, you know what? You've had some L's. We can't forget, Aubameyang's new contract is an L for you. Marie's an L for you. Cedric is your L. Lokonga and Tavares, while we heard that they were scout-based signings, they are L's, and there's probably some others. Your success rate has been good. You've made players that have been at this club already look like new signings. Saka's gone from strength to strength. I'm not really included him in that. Martinelli's done his thing. People were criticizing Odegaard when we signed him, let alone his 6 months loan. Now look at him. Saliba's gone out on loan. He's come back now. Look at him. Ramsdale, again, I remember my videos. A lot of you were criticizing him. I'm not saying I was pro Ramsdale, but I said he's a decent keeper. I didn't see the ball playing ability. Benjamin White, I heard it, but I didn't see some of these qualities. Cool. I run with it. Like, you've shown me enough to say, all right, cool. You know what? Until I see anything different, I give a man a chance. Same way that if it don't work, I'm on to you. Where are Smith Rowe and Vieira going to go? Take someone's spot or it's gone. I don't know where Havertz will play, man. He can play in a bunch of roles, but it's about time. As an ignorant non-Chelsea fan that watches football, you got to lock down something. You've got to be able to play as a 9 or a 10 or an 8 and do all the rest. You're not one of these guys that can do everything. So we're going to have to see, man. It is going to be peak for Vieira. And you know what? If we do get Havertz, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Vieira, anyone that kind of plays in them roles, you should think, you know what? They're coming to take my spot, not on my watch. I better play him on the bench. He might as well play. He can play in the League Cup and FA Cup next year. So it's one of them ones, really. Talk about proving a point. They'll sell you to a rival, basically say we don't rate you. That's a chip on the shoulder, like in any athlete. More competition is better. I would love Wirtz, but he's made it clear he's not leaving at least until next year. And obviously he's nursing his way back from injury. So maybe, it's like he's never been injured really, but probably just cooling there. You're them kind of man, in my opinion. He has been linked with Madrid. Probably ends up at Bayern Munich. I would imagine Havertz will play as a false 9 or number 10. I prefer him to play as an 8 or a 10. And that's nothing against him. It's just the false 9 thing is dead. Like, we need someone that can hold it up, especially games where under the cosh. Like against City, we needed an outlet. You punch it into a big striker, holds it up, gets fouls. On top of being braver, we get further up the pitch. When you have no out ball and you're playing Rob Holding, who you have to drop the line back, or you try and play a high line and you know the risk. On top of the obvious, you're feeding into, you're almost showing the chinks in your armor, really and truly. It doesn't make sense, if I'm honest with you. Do we sign Caicedo before Havertz? I mean, you'd imagine we sign Havertz before Caicedo based on what we're reading. We hear there's an admiration for Caicedo, but there's been no bid. While there's been no bid for Havertz, I ain't seen no Ornstein, at least since January, I ain't seen no David Ornstein article about Kai Havertz. It seems like there's been contact. It seems whether Caicedo goes to Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, whatever, Munich, whatever team's linked with him, it appears to be the calm before the storm. And you got to remember, Arsenal might just walk away. Big up the Kenyans and big up yourself, my guy. The right deal is crucial. Getting it over the line, that's primary. Secondary targets are Caicedo, in my opinion. I love the new jersey. Looks dope. Appreciate that. Arsenal's bid for Havertz was 40 million and has been dismissed out of hand by Chelsea. So let the games begin. And it's for the right fee, man. For the right fee, I'm not against it. But if you spend too much and we don't address other areas, hopefully the Kroenkes haven't seen another one of their clubs. In fact, to be honest, every club that they own, they've seen them win a trophy. We won a couple of FA Cups. But since they've become total owners, I think they've won the Super Bowl. They've obviously won the NBA thing with the Denver Nuggets. Spend the bag and we might be able to do a thing, Hopefully, dreaming, but can we win a 2-2 Champions League? It'd be nice to win the first Premier League trophy in the Emirates era. For me, I'm always going to say it every year. I always puff out my chest for the FA Cup. City are renting that. Go and take it back next year. Really and truly. So I have to see. Now, Ben Jacobs deleted the tweet. He meant it for Mount. Fair enough. So we have to see. We want 2 teams. I mean, there's a lot of football. And I do think Arteta, I think fans waffle about rotation too much. But I do think when you get to the end of the year, the turn of the new year, rotation starts to become a thing. And I think Arteta doesn't trust all of his players because there's too much of a knock-on effect when you take a couple of players out. So I would say this is your squad now, so you've got to ask yourself why you don't, or bring some players you can trust. If you sign Havertz, anybody for that matter, you must trust them. So maybe he'll be a bit more flexible with rotation and things like that. I don't know. Big up Mac. Havertz could be a good addition to the squad with the amount of games we have next season, but buying another Chelsea player doesn't sit right with me, and it probably doesn't sit right with a lot of fans. It's almost like he's crippled in terms of he's not being given a... I'm sure the majority of Arsenal fans, especially match-going fans, no shade, we'll give the man a chance for all their opinions. But it's almost like a man's been written off. He won't be the first. He won't be the last. Benjamin Wright, Ramsdale, they were all there with that being said, really. I just said it with Welbs for my experience. He won't be the last footballer of any club. So you just have to, he probably knows that. Hit the ground running. Watching that City parade made me depressed. We need to win the Premier League. Have we won a European trophy yet? We have won a European trophy. Obviously, it's not what we'd like. And hopefully charges can be brought against Barcelona one day and we can get Randa 06 trophy. We, ironically, Havertz's team that he currently plays for in Chelsea. We won't waffle about the Europa League final, let alone the years that are followed in Europa League. And to be fair, he had, Havertz has been there and done it. He's won what we'd love us to win. Jorginho's been there. Obviously, Declan Rice has won a European trophy and he's got a bag of experience. We're looking like we're bringing in leaders. There's obviously leaders at the club. Everybody, for me, with our team, everyone looks like they lead in other ways. Clearly, there's the Xhaka types that will tell a man you're doing shit stuff. Odegaard, probably a more cuter and clever with it. Some man lead by example. You've got the Zinchenkos with the huddles. You've got the Jesuses. We need that. I do think fans really underestimate in football the mental aspects that go into this game and also the training field, because we can bring in who we want. There's several things that Arteta did last summer that saw us benefit on the training from the training ground that saw us benefit. He needs to do that again, if I'm completely honest. Buying more players that Chelsea don't want, not for me. We are competing with Chelsea for the same players. Why are we offloading them and giving them the capital to outbid us? I mean, Chelsea have money. They just need to comply with certain things in it. So it's not like we're giving them £2 and they're going to use that £2 to go buy Caicedo. Ben Jacobs has said we put in a 40 million bid. One of you said that it was a myth. Arteta changed his mind on Caicedo, or they, Chelsea, to make the first bid and even the second bid to see how far they're willing to go, then hijack the deal, same like they did with Mudryk. I don't know. From what I'd say, I think Arsenal, obviously you want to save money. I think Arsenal review as far as they can go. They present the project to the club. They kind of tap up the player and get the player wanting to sign. And then if it doesn't fall in them lines, then they move away. And we have to be prepared to walk away from Declan Rice, even though it looks like we're getting that done, or Caicedo. This is why I keep saying 8 and 6. While I love the names we're linked with, everyone knows I'm a fan of Zubamendi. 8, 6, centre mid, right back, left back, depending on Tierney. Needs to be addressed. If it's not, then I'll always support my club. I'll always be hopeful. But I think it's more the same next season, where from this one where we've obviously done well, but we'll fall short, whether that's because of experience, whether that's because of a knock-on effect of injuries, whether that's because of personnel being injured and not being able to play our way, simply not being able to rotate when players look a bit spent and out of form. I don't know. Think about last season, how long it was. And every month, every day and week was another headline, let alone 38 Premier League game weeks alone. And how many storylines were said. It's a long journey. And it's almost back, really. We're in June. Before we know it, we'll be back with the Premier League. Odegaard leads and going missing every week. Bit harsh for a man that's got 15 league goals. No Odegaard slander. Been with him through the trenches. DG, would you have Rice 8 and Caicedo 6? Yeah. Because Caicedo, you're more of that. Obviously, you're going to have to demand a lot more of Brighton's way of football is more closer aligned to Arsenal's than obviously West Ham's. But because of there's definitely going to be games, especially against the top 6, where we're going to be in the trenches. We're going to have to defend, backs against the wall. But typically, we have the majority of possession, and problems are only developed via set pieces or the counter attack. So you would have to see a lot more of the qualities of Caicedo. Rice can play as at 6, so can Caicedo. I want them to be able to play their best positions, but I also want Arteta to make them into other things. I think Declan Rice, I think at some point you'll do the John Stones role. You can obviously deputise at centre back. You're obviously at home as a 6. I think you will play as an 8, and we'll see a lot more. Caicedo's ability to play as an unofficial organic right back, to go with Zinchenko doing what he's doing and all these other multifunctional players. We're cooking in it, really and truly. And for me, the difference is, because we've tried this approach before, the difference is with these lot that we're getting now is these man can actually do it. Like, certain man can't do it or couldn't do it. So we'll have to see. Sorry, people, just making another timestamp for you lot. Shout out to everyone watching on the replay. Even though my team had a poor season, I need the Prem back as soon as possible. I miss football. What do you make of Partey leaving? I think it'd be stupid. Partey, you maybe let him leave next year. You're going to be 31. He's contracted until 2025. But this year, I don't think there should be a widespread thingy, really. I think you need to hold on to El Nene. If an offer comes and reinvest, fair enough. But I think you need to hold on to even El Nene. There's been times, and any Arsenal fan that disagrees, regardless what you think, I think you're a liar. There's been times where we could have done with El Nene last year. I think whatever you think about El Nene, Jorginho, Partey, they need to stay this year. And even if I could, I would love to rip up negotiations for Granit Xhaka to buy in Leverkusen, unless that directly correlates our ability to bring in Rice or anyone else, because I think we need to keep them. I said it before. Not that I think we'll do it. I think if we assume in this alternative reality that Xhaka isn't going Leverkusen and you're having Partey, I think you still could bring in a Caicedo and Rice. And if it was up to me, maybe even 3 midfielders, because certain man, it's over with if it was up to me. If you get a proper right back, then you can use White as a centre back again, and he can fill in that right back. Kind of echoes the point about multifunctional players. I mean, we covered it. Them rumors have been there with Partey leaving. It would be stupid. Like it would be stupid. Arsenal's second bid for Caicedo in January was 70 million. I don't think Chelsea's first bid will match that. So maybe Edu and Arteta are waiting to see what Chelsea will bid. It's the calm before the storm, man. The market's just open. We don't know where the other priorities lay. We don't know what's going on in the back burners, because you got to remember, a lot of clubs talk with a lot of players and their advisors before they go forward and submit a bid. Obviously Stones is above Rice, but the role, man, like, are we listening or are we talking? Fair enough, though. Ignorance is bliss. The Havertz thing is just that if he was smoking, Chelsea won't be selling him. Hopefully, it's like the Maddison stuff where it was a smokescreen put out by Richard Garlick when we found out about it. I mean, it'd be naive to assume we're negotiating with Havertz to divert attention away from Caicedo, but I hear that. No one's too good to stay on the bench, bro. If you're not doing the job, you're on the bench. I just think we struggle physically. Declan Rice coming into our midfield gives us a new layer. Obviously, his game isn't relying on physicality, but Xhaka not a pushover in midfield. Assuming Xhaka goes and Caicedo and Declan Rice have not been arrived to this club, which on paper they're not, we're lacking in the middle of the park. Now we can play. Listen, we can give people a game. We can ball you off the park. But as you saw when we went away to West Ham, as you saw in the second half against Liverpool, as you saw in probably our worst game last season at Everton with Onana, when we dropped points with Southampton and Lavia. Anytime there's a bit of physicality against us, and I'm not talking about necessarily 6-foot brutes, people are getting into us, we struggle with it. Partey has played at least 30-odd times in the Premier League. He's been as fit as he has been in recent years. But we can't just have one physical man, and you definitely can't let man go. And if he's not there, we're back to square one. This is on top of all the propaganda I'm spreading about Declan Rice, which is why I think we need that. This is the modern game. Obviously, the football we play on times is beautiful, but I also find myself stuck here and saying, is Arsenal going against the grain? Now, we know we press with intensity, but a bit like Wenger said, right, people, the game nowadays is NBA stuff. You know, the game is less about individuals. Of course, there's individuals will always make the difference. There's great individual footballers. But in my lifetime, football, in my 28 years, football has never been more about systems, right? So you've got systems and high turnovers and physicality. As much as I like what Arteta is doing, I'm not criticizing it. I always find, are we going against the grain? Like, even City, you wouldn't necessarily say they're a physical side, but they are. Are we going against the grain? This is the game now. You need to be physical in midfield. You need to spend mad money on players. Now, clearly, the players need to deliver. So it's either we adapt to what the game is at this period in time in history, or we sit around crying. Which one do you lot want to be a part of? I know where I am. The game's the game, my guy. We need to get some business completed before Qatar buys United and break the transfer market. Balogun's playing for America against Mexico. It's probably on at a time that isn't kind to us in the United Kingdom. But yeah, would you be okay if Vieira and Lokonga left and bring Havertz in? I don't want to get rid of Fabio Vieira yet. If we're still having the same questions, we're still fielding the same questions and talking about the same things, there's something. But I think he needs to deliver. I'll give you the luxury of it's your first season. In a weird way, any new coming players kind of joined Arsenal at the best and worst possible time, a bit like young players emerging. I say best time because obviously we're looking a lot better as a football club, but I say worst time because if we're in good form and we're playing quite well, naturally there's less opportunity for players to play, you know. Obviously Saka's potential is out of this world. Smith Rowe's done his thing, and obviously Martinelli and Joe and Eddie and Ketty or Joe Willock, they were about. But Arsenal found themselves in a unique position a few years ago where years of doing the wrong things had left us needing to really have a clean sweep. So there was more opportunity to play young players because we had crapper players. Now, I don't know if that's the case, really. I do wish we kept Benassia, though. I ain't getting everybody. Yeah, man. Can't sell Vieira yet. He's barely played. And he joined us with an injury as well. So listen, I'm very short to give up on players, innit? But if we're having the same things, we're in issues. Who would you want to sign? Jane, if it was up to me, Caicedo tomorrow, Zubamendi tomorrow, Declan Rice tomorrow. Boy, it is what it is in that regards, man. I mean, Vieira alone could be explored. Does this mean Eddie and Balogun leave? Balogun's probably made his bed. We don't know. Hopefully, Arteta can gas him to sign a new deal. But, you know, once you're exposed to first team football and starting week in, week out, unpopular opinion, I don't think that Balogun sat there and said to Arteta, because he can't be that stupid to think he can, innit? I want to be first choice or leave. I think he just wants clarity over his future. I think he's looking at it. It's not that he's scared of competition, and I'm sure he wants to make it at Arsenal. He's gone from being a child to a young boy to a young man to a man. developing all the way through Arsenal, you know, hit puberty, all of those sort of things. I'm sure he wants to make it, especially because he's seeing some of his brethren come through the academy. But sometimes in life, you know, you might need to divorce your wife to, you know, find happiness. And I think when you get to these ages, you need to kind of do what's right. You can't always listen with your heart. You need to use your head. And the cold-hearted facts are you've scored 20-odd goals in Liga. You've done quite well. You've been exposed to first-team football, fans cheering your name and all these things. You've now been called up into the American squad. You know, are you gonna play necessarily at Arsenal? So I think there's a conversation to have. Now, where Arsenal are not helped is that he's contracted for his contract is running down. And if he's not playing, why would you want to sign a new deal? I don't think anyone should play just for the sake of them being a talented player. Fans want it all. They want it all. They want all these young players to play, everyone to get equal minutes, you know, have a bunch of players. No one gets rotated, but everyone gets rotated. Some harsh decisions have to be made, and we're going to have to do certain things, man. Enough of this meltdown from the fan base. Bring Kai to the carpet. Balogun, Eddie. I hear you with that. I think Balogun is better than Eddie Nketiah. But I do think Eddie Nketiah, because he's been exposed to first-team football quicker, his general play is a lot better. And not to go against our own logic, Marcel, if Eddie Nketiah was at Reims, and Balogun was here, and you know when Eddie Nketiah filled in for Balogun in his role, filled in for Jesus in his role, and obviously there's 20+ goals with Eddie, would we be saying the same things? Because I don't know this, but I bet I'm not saying he'll score 20-odd goals, but I think, you know, I think Eddie Nketiah will go to France and score some goals at some level. You know, Lacazette's gone there and he looks quicker. He looks like Usain Bolt, let alone scoring goals. So would we be saying the same thing? As much as I like Balogun, it does look like a shiny new toy. And half these fans are not watching the general aspects. Goals win games, you know. But in a striker in today's day and age in Arteta's system, it's not just about goals. It's about all the other things in which Balogun's at the right stage of his development. He's learned a lot of the testing loan spell at Middlesbrough, and he's done a lot better. So ultimately, if selling Balogun is a means to an end to reinvest, it needs to be done. I mean, Patino's going to leave, innit? Like, if you see Declan Rice coming for 100 million, you see Havertz coming who can play in your role. You know, you've seen Xhaka, Odegaard, Partey. I would love to keep Patino. Very good human being, let alone a footballer. But it's a means to an end. And young players, you've got to be selfish now. You know, you've got to be selfish. I know Jadon Sancho isn't the bee's knees right now, but would Jadon Sancho be where he is, you know, getting called up to England nowadays, earning the money he's earned, playing for Man United, experiencing what he experienced with Dortmund? If he stayed at City, he probably would have came through at City, but who knows? You've got to be fearless, man. Andy, I'm surprised you're not running bants anymore. Do you think Eddie messed up big time when he didn't sign Gomares? I'm surprised you're always here. I'm surprised you got to ask me that. Bruno Gomares should be here. Goals win games, but defense win titles. I like Thuram, the centre mid one. I'm not a fan of his brother, but yeah, man. If we keep Partey, Xhaka, El Nene, who are we moving on from to bring in Rice and Caicedo? We could do it all, really, but naturally, you'd have to... Xhaka and Partey, they'd have to probably be clipped or demoted. Like same way you saw Tierney, Tomiyasu, kind of indirectly Smith Rowe because of his injury, like you've seen them, whether it's been because of the system or signing better players, naturally they've been unofficially demoted because we signed better players or players that fit the system. They've become our squad players now. DG, can you know I can't say that word. Say Kai is better than Flo and Balogun. He's clear of them both. I mean, he's not a better striker than all of them, but you know, if my gun was to my head at this moment in time, he's more Premier League proven. He's not a striker like that. Them man are more out and out forwards. Exactly. Sancho looks like an emotional guy, if I'm honest. How much money do you think we'll get? All depends on how you get what you hustle, innit? It all depends on how good Edu is at hustling for Balogun and Cole. A bit like what Liverpool were doing a few years ago. You should be Mikel's assistant. Ain't got the experience for that, man. Very easy to sit here and talk, you know. But would love that. Would love that. Would be amazing, wouldn't it? Appreciate the kind words, nonetheless. So yeah, man, it is what it is. It is, you know. Again, one thing I like about talking points or news coming out like this is nobody's right, nobody's wrong. You see a lot of polarizing opinions. Some of you are really pro Kai Havertz, for example. Some of you are just onto him, not giving him a chance, man. But no one's right, no one's wrong, man. Really and truly. So, yeah, I don't think we get a right-sided centre-back, probably a full-back to play both sides. White can play centre-back. That's good, same as Tommy. The problem with Tomiyasu, I love the guy. Love Tomiyasu. Think you're a good squad player. But the best quality you can have, especially a team that's going to play the amount of games, is being fit. I can't bet my life on Kieran Tierney, Partey, even though I've kind of sound like a hypocrite now, and Tomiyasu to stay fit. So I can't really rely on you. And as much as I love Tomiyasu, and I'm sure Arteta does too, if a year from now we're sat on this live stream saying the same things, I think we got to pull the plug. And if I'm honest with you, I'm a big fan of Tomiyasu, but he's had a poor season even when he's played. You locked down Salah, hey, luck for that. But other than that, you've been crap. I got to be honest. Why am I going to lie to you? And I only say this because I rate, man. I don't know why we're doing business with Chelsea, man. I wouldn't even take Havertz for 50. Todd Burr, saw a 2-minute skill compilation on YouTube and put the 70 million price tag. All just opinions, man. And like you said, with open dialogue. That is blasphemy. Kai Havertz will do a lot well to be mentioned in the same realm as Dennis Bergkamp. Respectfully, have you seen Dennis? Did you watch Dennis? Demenis. You know, I'm kind of fighting Havertz's case here. We got to calm down with them shouts. Fans are going to overhype everyone because reality is very few fans can tell me 90 minutes they've watched from Balogun. Maybe the occasional Paris Saint-Germain game. No one can tell me games Balogun's had poor games. And I'm not trying to belittle him. It's not about blowing hot smoke up someone's ass. Pause. It's about the poor games you've had because that is where the evident areas of improvements are. These Havertz rumours making me question myself why I'm supporting Arsenal. Alfred, with the greatest of respect, if that's the case, then you probably need to not support a football team, really. Don't lie. He locked down Salah. Do not chat crap. He locked down. There's no shame in it. Salah's had a great season. Salah at the Emirates got locked the fuck down by Tomiyasu. There's no shame in saying it. Not every footballer. There's not a single footballer last season or any season that has had a great game all the time. Let's cut the crap. He played left back and he locked him down. Salah is a great player, and you've done well for that. Really. Come on now. Let's stop the nonsense. There's been plenty of times Saka's been locked down. I know football's stupid, but Marcel, you're a smart man. Let's not be silly. And you're right. A lot of people judge Ramsdale and White when he brought them and Arteta has turned them into players that could have helped us big time. This Havertz thing could be the same or just paper talk. We'll see. I didn't time you out, but respectfully, I value your opinion, but you can't tell me you know ballers if you're mentioning my man with Dennis Bergkamp. Can only improve from mistakes. And again, one of my first couple of videos on my YouTube channel was saying I wish more English centre-backs defended like John Stones. I've been wrong a lot of the times. And I was right about that because I saw, you can go through the comments on my YouTube channel now. Who won the war? I remember getting attacked for saying Pepe won't bank here. I remember getting attacked for saying Lacazette won't score 20 league goals. I wanted to be wrong on all of these things. I could only go off what I'm seeing. Shout out Harrison. It's like we've all got the regulars back here. Hope you're doing well in Greece and you've probably missed everything we've spoken about, my guy. Big up, Paul, because you're always here. Hey, DG, big up yourself in the nation. I've not been here in a while as I've had some health issues. Can't come back, but man, still keeping strong. First things first, man, on behalf of everybody, wishing you the best of health, man. Why do you think we take so long to get a deal over the line? I think that's just what we do as a club, and there's probably a lot of moving parts, really. But saying that, maybe not so much the high-profile guys, but we have woke up on a couple of occasions, like Fabio Vieira, like, whoa, we're signing a guy. So, yeah, man. It was Tomiyasu, man. I remember it. That's why I'm saying it. I remember it. Shout to Salah for being kind enough to miss a penalty as well. It's crazy because people have said Salah had. That's something I remember talking about. People said Salah's had a poor season. It's crazy. If Saka gets injured, we have to get with it. God forbid, God, if you want to give any of my key Arsenal players injuries, give them to me. I'll have sympathies for the fans. I don't have sympathy. I have a lot of sympathies for Mikel Arteta. I don't have any sympathies if there's injuries because it's not something unless 10 players are out, 8 players are out. It's a madness. I don't have sympathies for Arteta or a single manager, really and truly, because injuries happen. It's like being a chef and crying that you cut your hand. It don't make sense. Or being a rapper and complaining when someone says your music shit. This transfer fever gets me gassed every summer. Too many kids. This is real season. Nelson to play 15 games on the right wing. Mount bid for United just got rejected. This is going to be interesting. I would love Gavi, but you're dream chasing. God forbid, bro. God forbid. I remember what you were saying about Stones. To be fair, I'm a lot biased to Stones. I've always rated Stones. One thing about me, I like bravery in footballers, and I've seen Stones make many a mistake, and he'll make many a mistake again, but I admire his bravery. Yo, DG, what's good when we announcing Rice? By God's grace, sooner rather than later. I wish I could pick up my phone and Mikel said, yeah, man, you should stop doing YouTube. Come be a coach, man. Come work under me. We're signing XYZ. I would love it, but it's not going to happen, man. You're moving mad, but nonetheless, big up the channel members. Havertz can still be a saucy Don. Leverkusen days were wavy. I mean, end of the day, the beautiful thing about football is we can all have our thoughts, but the feet have to do the talking. If you do the business, nobody cares. As I said with Van Dijk, everyone could see. Some people said Van Dijk was overrated them times, but everyone could see Van Dijk was a great centre back. Everyone had an opinion about the price tag. Nobody cares because he's done his job. Alisson, nobody cares because he's done his job. When you've got Lukaku, when you've got Havertz, even though he's won the Champions League, when you've got Pepe, when you've got Ndombele, when you've got Maguire, when you've got several of these, Anthony Gordon at Newcastle, I'm loading that agenda even though I like him. It only matters when you're not doing your job. That's the only thing. I hope they can score 20 plus. Definitely where Jesus is concerned. I need a striker that can do that. Arteta hasn't got much wrong with the players he's brought into the club so far. So if he wants Havertz, then I'll trust his judgment. Is it Martinelli's birthday? I never knew that. But if it is, happy birthday. And happy belated to Partey as well. I never knew that. Early birthday. Fair enough, Jane. Is it? How old's Martinelli going to be? They grow up so fast. Big up Emre for blooding Martinelli and shout out Arteta for refining in people. But with us being here in 4 days, crazy early. But with us being here for obviously 90 minutes, people, appreciate that. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Again, I've done a video earlier today. Go and check that out. Again, these timestamps will be put into the video. Appreciate you lot for listening, for your talking points, for your diverse opinions across YouTube and Twitch. If you haven't smashed the like button, please do. Please make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following on Kick as well and also Spotify because all this stuff gets put on MP3. Most importantly, regardless of where you lot are in this world, stay healthy, stay having a great week, and I'll link up with you lot again soon, man. Appreciate you lot. I'm out.
There's always that active when that defenders are being given like. There's always that active when that defenders are being given like.
I will say though, Arteta, if we're saving money in other places and you need a fullback, if you think Tavares doesn't defend, you haven't seen me, but sign me.
There's always that active when that defenders are being given like.
Tongue